I want to tell you about a patient of mine. Let's call her Eleanor. She's 71, does everything right. Gardens, walks her dog, eats healthy. But she came to me utterly frustrated. She said, "Doctor, I don't understand. I feel fine in the afternoon, but every morning when I get out of bed, my legs feel like they're made of lead. My balance is off. I feel weaker than when I went to sleep." And what I told her is that the problem wasn't just age. The problem was that she was going to a construction site every night with no building materials. Her body was trying to rebuild muscle while she slept, but she wasn't giving it the tools to do the job.
Dr. Morgan, that story about Eleanor is so powerful because it's so specific. The feeling of having legs made of lead, of waking up weaker than when you went to sleep. I know that is going to resonate with millions of people watching right now. It perfectly frames the mystery we're here to solve today. Welcome everyone to Health Voices. I'm your host Sarah, and I'm here again with the brilliant Dr. Morgan. For those who are new to our community, Dr. Morgan is a board-certified clinical nutritionist who has dedicated his career to helping seniors understand their bodies and take back control of their health. And today we are tackling that exact mystery Dr. Morgan just introduced. He's going to pull back the curtain on the silent biological process that could be robbing you of your strength, your balance, and your independence while you sleep. But more importantly, he's going to give us a practical science-backed list of those very building materials, simple foods, that can turn your sleep from a time of breakdown into a time of rebuilding. So, if Eleanor's story felt like your story, stay right where you are. Dr. Morgan, let's start with that fundamental why that you and Eleanor's story introduced. You mentioned a silent battle, a hidden process. For everyone watching who feels that morning weakness, who feels like they're losing ground, can you please walk us through what is actually happening inside our bodies on a biological cellular level when we go to bed on an empty stomach after the age of 60?
Absolutely, Sarah. And it's crucial we understand this because knowledge is the first step toward taking control. To really get it, we need to understand two key terms from clinical nutrition. The first and the most immediate process that happens every night is catabolism. Imagine your body is a bustling, vibrant city that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Even when the city's inhabitants are asleep, the power grid must stay on the water treatment plants, must run security services, must patrol. These are essential functions. In your body, that's your heart beating your lungs, breathing your brain processing memories, your immune system fighting off invaders. All of this requires a constant supply of energy and raw materials, specifically amino acids. During the day, fuel trucks in the form of food are constantly arriving, supplying everything the city needs. But at night for 8 hours or more, all deliveries stop. The city is under a complete embargo.
So the city has to find its own resources to keep running.
Precisely. The city manager, your brain, issues an order. We need fuel and materials now. Find them internally. The easiest, most accessible warehouse of high-quality amino acids in the entire city is the infrastructure itself, your muscle tissue. So, a demolition crew is dispatched. This process, catabolism, is literally your body breaking down its own muscle fibers to release amino acids into the bloodstream to fuel those essential overnight operations. It's a brilliant survival mechanism if you were stranded on a desert island, but it's a devastating process when it happens, night after night, year after year.
That analogy is so clear and also quite alarming. The idea that your body is sacrificing its own strength just to get through the night is a powerful thought. And you mentioned there's a second factor that makes this problem even worse for seniors.
Yes, and this is the crux of the issue. The reason this process accelerates so dramatically as we age. The second term is anabolic resistance. Anabolic is the opposite of catabolic. It means to build up. So, anabolic resistance means that as we get older, our muscle cells become less sensitive, more resistant to the signals that tell them to grow and repair.
So it's like the muscle cells become stubborn.
Exactly like that. Think of it this way. When you were 25, your muscle cells were like eager young construction workers. The foreman, let's say, that's a protein-rich meal, only had to whisper, "Time to build." And the whole crew would spring into action, repairing and building with incredible efficiency. But by the time you're 65 or 70, that same construction crew has been on the job for decades. They're a bit older, a bit more tired, maybe a little hard of hearing. Now the foreman has to shout. You need a louder signal, which means more protein and higher quality protein just to get them to put on their hard hats and start working. This is due to a combination of factors including hormonal changes like lower levels of growth hormone and less efficient cellular signaling.
So it's a true perfect storm. At the exact same time of life when a nightly demolition job is happening via catabolism, the construction crew that's supposed to clean up the mess and rebuild has become less effective.
That is the perfect storm summarized perfectly. Nightly breakdown combined with inefficient rebuilding. It creates a net deficit of muscle tissue day after day. This is why Eleanor wakes up feeling weaker. It's not in her head. It's a real measurable biological deficit.
This explains so much. So the obvious question becomes, how do we fight back? If this storm is raging every night, how do we intervene?
We arm the body for the night. We don't just send in a bigger construction crew. We provide them with a massive continuous supply of top-quality building materials right on the job site all night long. This is where our first and most foundational group of foods comes into play. I call them the night shift proteins. These are foods specifically chosen for their ability to be digested and absorbed very slowly, providing a steady trickling supply of amino acids to your muscles over the entire 8-hour sleeping window. They effectively stop catabolism in its tracks and give your body everything it needs to be in a state of building, not breaking down.
The night shift proteins. I love that. It's a proactive strategy. So where do we start? What are the all-stars of this group?
The gold standard. The foods we nutritionists who specialize in aging get the most excited about are cottage cheese and plain unsweetened Greek yogurt. Their absolute superpower lies in a specific type of protein called casein. As I mentioned, whey protein is a firework, but casein is a slow-burning candle. When casein protein hits the acid in your stomach, it actually clumps together, forming a gel, or what we call a bolus. This gel is very difficult for your digestive enzymes to break down quickly. The result is a very slow, sustained release of amino acids into your bloodstream for 6, 7, even 8 hours. It's nature's perfect extended release formula.
And this isn't just a theory, right? There's hard data on this.
The hardest data. The article you referenced mentions a landmark study in the British Journal of Nutrition, which is a foundational paper in this field. Researchers took a group of older adults and gave them a simple dose of casein protein before bed. The results were astounding. They measured a 31% increase in overnight muscle protein synthesis. Let me be very clear about what that means. The group didn't just preserve their muscle. Their bodies were actively building more muscle while they were sound asleep, even without any changes to their exercise routine. For anyone trying to maintain strength and balance, that statistic is everything. A half cup 30 to 60 minutes before bed is all it takes.
A 31% increase is a life-changing number. That's the difference between feeling weaker each year and feeling stronger. Okay, so cottage cheese and Greek yogurt are at the top of the list. What is another powerful option from this group?
Another fantastic and very strategic option is tuna packed in olive oil. Now, tuna itself is a powerhouse. It's incredibly lean and protein-dense, and importantly, it is one of the richest natural sources of an amino acid called leucine. We're going to talk more about leucine later, but for now, just know that leucine is the primary on-switch for muscle building. It's the foreman's loudest whistle. But the real magic for our nighttime purpose is the olive oil. The healthy monounsaturated fats in the oil do something brilliant. They act as a brake pedal on digestion. They slow down the rate at which the stomach empties, which means the protein and leucine from the tuna are released into the system much more gradually. You're getting the powerful muscle-building signal from the leucine, but the oil is extending that signal over a longer period.
So the olive oil is what transforms it from a regular meal into a strategic night shift tool. That's fascinating. And what about a simple classic like eggs?
Hard-boiled eggs are an excellent choice, especially for their efficiency and practicality. An egg is nature's perfect protein capsule. It contains around 6 grams of complete protein, meaning it has all 9 of the essential amino acids our bodies can't make on their own. Like tuna, it's a good source of the on-switch amino acid leucine, but its biggest advantage for many seniors is its simplicity. You can boil a batch at the beginning of the week. There's no cooking or prep required at night. It's light on the stomach, it won't spike your blood sugar, and it provides a perfectly portioned dose of high-quality protein. A 2021 study published in the journal Nutrients confirmed this, showing that older adults who ate whole eggs before bed had a 19% higher rate of muscle preservation. For someone with a small appetite in the evening, 1 or 2 hard-boiled eggs is an incredibly powerful and simple intervention.
CTA 1. This is incredibly empowering information, Dr. Morgan. You've taken this vague fear of getting weaker and broken it down into a clear problem with a clear food-based solution. And I want to pause for a moment to speak directly to our audience. If you or a parent or a loved one has been struggling with feeling weaker, and this information is giving you a renewed sense of hope and control, please let us know. Take a moment and type the number 1 in the comments section below. It helps us understand which topics matter most to you. And if you are finding this valuable, please take a second to hit that subscribe button. It costs nothing, and it is the best way to ensure you never miss these vital, empowering health conversations. Dr. Morgan, that really opens up a whole new perspective. Providing the body with those night shift proteins is like making sure the construction crew has enough bricks and mortar. But I want to circle back to the other aspect of Eleanor's story, one that I think so many people watching can deeply relate to. It's that feeling of stiffness and soreness in the morning. It's not just weakness, it's discomfort of feeling like your body has rusted overnight. So beyond rebuilding the muscle, is there a nutritional strategy to lubricate the joints and calm down that inflammation?
That's an incredibly important question, Sarah, because you are absolutely right. Building a strong house doesn't mean much if the inside is full of debris and hazards that prevent you from moving around comfortably. Chronic low-grade inflammation is that debris in our bodies. It not only causes joint pain, but is also a major driver of catabolism, the very muscle breakdown we're trying to stop. So, to win the nighttime battle, we don't just need to supply building materials. We also need to clean up the construction site. This brings us to our second group of foods, a group I call the Comfort and Repair Kit.
The Comfort and Repair Kit. I love that name. It evokes a sense of care and healing. So what's the first tool in this kit?
The first tool is a warm, gentle drink that has been used for centuries in traditional medicine, but is now being powerfully validated by modern science. It's warm milk, with turmeric, also known as golden milk. The milk, whether it's dairy or a protein-fortified plant-based milk, provides that slow-release casein protein foundation we talked about. But the real star here is turmeric. The active compound in turmeric, called curcumin, is one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatory agents ever studied.
We hear the term anti-inflammatory a lot, but what does that really mean for someone like Eleanor when she wakes up in the morning?
It means everything. Think of chronic inflammation as a faulty fire alarm in your body that's ringing at a low level, constantly 24/7. This constant noise creates stress on the entire system, leading to pain and stiffness in the joints and muscles. Curcumin acts like a skilled engineer who comes in and repairs that faulty alarm system. It quiets down the inflammatory signals, telling the body, "It's okay, there's no 5-alarm fire here." The result is that when you wake up, the noise of inflammation has been reduced, allowing you to move more freely and with less pain. The article you referenced cited a 2022 study showing that older adults who consumed a protein-rich drink enhanced with curcumin before bed experienced significantly less joint stiffness in the morning.
So what's the most effective way to prepare it?
It's very simple. Gently warm 1 cup of milk. Do not boil it. Then stir in about a 1/4 teaspoon of ground turmeric. And here is a critically important tip. Add a tiny pinch of finely ground black pepper. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine, which can increase your body's absorption of curcumin by up to 2,000%. Sipping this warm golden milk about 30 minutes before bed is not just a relaxing ritual. It's a powerful healing therapy for your body.
That's an amazing tool. It helps with sleep, fights inflammation, and feeds the muscles. What's the next tool in the comfort and repair kit?
Next up is a small but mighty snack, especially useful for those who don't want to eat too much. Before sleep, a spoonful of almond butter. This is more than just a tasty treat. It's a miniature nutritional powerhouse. Almond butter provides some plant-based protein and healthy monounsaturated fats, which helps slow digestion and provide steady energy. But its real nighttime benefit lies in 2 micronutrients, magnesium and vitamin E. Magnesium is nature's relaxation mineral. It helps calm the nervous system and prevent muscle cramps. And crucially, nutrients in almonds have been shown to help regulate cortisol.
Cortisol, that's the stress hormone. Correct. How does it relate to muscle loss?
It relates directly. Cortisol is enemy number 1 for your muscles. It is a catabolic hormone. When cortisol levels are high, it signals the body to break down muscle. Our body's natural rhythm is for cortisol to be high in the morning, to wake us up, and very low at night. But in our modern stressful lives, many people have a dysregulated rhythm, keeping cortisol elevated at night. This is like having a disruptive, sabotaging supervisor from the demolition crew constantly roaming the construction site while the building crew is trying to work. A spoonful of almond butter helps to soothe the system, lower cortisol levels, and create a safe, protected environment for your muscles to repair themselves without being disturbed.
So almond butter both nourishes and protects the muscles. A 2-for-1 strategy. And what is the final tool in our kit, Doctor?
The final tool is a natural drink with surprisingly powerful effects on sleep, muscle recovery, and joint health. It's tart cherry juice. This isn't a fad. It's one of the most scientifically supported nighttime tools, especially for seniors. Tart cherry juice has 2 primary effects. First, it is incredibly rich in antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds called anthocyanins. They act like a microscopic cleanup crew, moving through your body to neutralize damaging free radicals, which reduces muscle damage and joint inflammation. Second, and perhaps even more importantly, tart cherry juice is one of the richest natural food sources of melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone that governs our sleep.
Many people just take a melatonin pill. What's the advantage of getting it from a food source like tart cherry juice?
That is an excellent point. When you take a melatonin pill, you get a single isolated molecule. When you drink tart cherry juice, you get melatonin working in a symphony with hundreds of other beneficial compounds. The anti-inflammatory anthocyanins, vitamins, minerals, they all work synergistically. Better quality sleep creates a longer, more effective window for muscle repair. Furthermore, deep sleep is when your body releases its most potent repair hormone, human growth hormone, HGH. By improving sleep quality, tart cherry juice helps you tap more effectively into your body's own natural healing pharmacy. The article cites a 2019 study showing that older adults who drank tart cherry juice before bed experienced 33% less muscle soreness in the morning and a 15% improvement in sleep quality.
CTA2. It's incredible how these simple natural foods can be so strategic and powerful. And for everyone watching, if you are still with us learning about these vital tools, please let us know by typing the number 2 in the comments. And also, please share what city or country you're watching from. It is so wonderful to know that our Health Voices community is connecting from all over the world in this conversation about health. Dr. Morgan, this is all so incredibly enlightening. We've built a strong foundation with the night shift proteins that work slowly and steadily. We've added the comfort and repair kit to soothe inflammation and improve sleep. But I know some of our viewers are thinking, what if I feel like I'm already behind? What if I need to bring out the big guns to really make a difference? For the person who wants the single most potent, most powerful tool in your arsenal to kickstart this process, what is your number 1 recommendation?
That's a fair and important question, Sarah. For those who want the most powerful stimulus, for those who feel they need a significant boost, the answer from the scientific literature is unequivocal. The number 1 choice is our final food, which I call the accelerator. A high-quality whey protein shake. Now, I know as soon as I say that some people might tune out. For decades, whey protein has been marketed with images of huge, muscular young men in their 20s. It has done a great disservice to the population that I would argue can benefit from it the most, our seniors.
That's such an important point. So let's break that stigma right now. Why is whey protein so uniquely powerful for an older adult, more so than for a young athlete?
It comes back to that concept of anabolic resistance we discussed. Remember the analogy of the stubborn heart of hearing construction crew? The light switch in the muscle cells of older adults that signals them to build has become a bit rusty. It takes more pressure, a more forceful push, to flip that switch on. Whey protein is the most effective way known to science to deliver that powerful push. The reason is its incredibly high concentration of that all-important branched chain amino acid leucine.
Leucine, the on switch you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. Leucine is the foreman's loudest whistle. It is the direct trigger that activates the primary muscle-building engine in your body, a pathway called mTOR. Without a sufficient dose of leucine, that engine won't even start, no matter how much other protein you consume. Whey protein delivers the largest, most bioavailable dose of leucine of any food source, period. It provides that strong, undeniable signal that overcomes anabolic resistance and shouts to the muscle cells, "It is time to build."
But that brings up a question for me, doctor. You spent the first part of our conversation praising slow-digesting proteins like casein. Whey is famously fast digesting. Doesn't that contradict the slow and steady strategy for the overnight period?
That is the logical paradox, and it's a brilliant question. Here's how to think about it. The casein in cottage cheese is like putting a large dense log on the fire that will smolder and burn steadily all night long. Whey protein is like using a blowtorch to get that log lit instantly and roaring hot. You wouldn't use the blowtorch all night, but using it for 30 seconds at the beginning ensures you get a powerful fire started. The whey provides that massive initial spark of leucine to get the muscle-building engine running at full throttle. Then your body's natural resting and repair state during the subsequent hours of sleep allows that process to continue its work. A clinical trial mentioned in the article published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition tested this exact theory. They gave adults over 65 a whey protein shake before bed. The results were phenomenal, a 22% increase in overnight muscle protein synthesis and measurable improvements in strength walking speed and balance. And most impressively, these benefits occurred even without any formal exercise program.
So for seniors who may have a low appetite or difficulty eating a solid snack before bed, a simple drink could be the most powerful option of all. Is there a specific type of whey protein they should look for?
Yes, and this is very important. The supplement aisle can be confusing. For seniors, I specifically recommend looking for a product labeled whey protein isolate or hydrolyzed whey. These are simply more filtered versions of whey that have had almost all of a milk sugar, called lactose, removed. This makes them incredibly gentle on the stomach and very easy to digest, which is ideal. You want to avoid products called mass gainers, as those are typically loaded with sugar and cheap fillers. A clean whey isolate mixed with water or unsweetened almond milk is the goal.
That is fantastic practical advice. Okay, doctor, this has been an incredible education. But for Eleanor, for my own parents, for someone at home right now who is feeling inspired but also a little overwhelmed by all these great options, what is the one final piece of advice you would give them to start tonight?
The final piece of advice is perhaps the most important. The most powerful ingredient in any health plan is consistency. The best strategy in a textbook is useless if you don't follow it. The good plan that you do every single night is infinitely better than the perfect plan that you do once a week. So my advice is to forget about finding the absolute perfect solution for you right away, and instead embrace what I call the powerfully good solution.
And what is that powerfully good solution?
It is to start with half a cup of plain Greek yogurt or cottage cheese about 30 to 60 minutes before bed. That's it. That is the single best first step. It's the easiest point of entry into this new habit. It's affordable, it's available in every grocery store, it requires zero special preparation, and it is scientifically proven to work. Don't let the quest for perfection become a form of procrastination. Start with the simple, effective habit tonight. Build the routine. Then you can explore the other tools in our kit as you go. But it all begins with that first consistent step. You know, Sarah, before we wrap up, I want to leave our audience with one final thought that goes beyond any specific food or nutrient. It's about mindset. For generations, we have been fed a narrative that aging is a story of inevitable decline. That feeling weaker, stiffer, and less capable is just a bill that comes due. But the science we've discussed today tells a different story. It tells us that we have so much more agency, so much more control over how we age than we've ever been led to believe. This knowledge isn't meant to be just interesting. It's meant to be empowering. It's a toolkit that allows you to step out of the passenger seat and into the driver's seat of your own health journey. It's about shifting your mindset from one of passive acceptance to one of proactive daily maintenance and rebuilding.
That is such a crucial and hopeful message, Doctor. It's not about fighting aging itself, but about intelligently managing the process. And that brings us to the question that I know everyone has been waiting for. You've shared her struggles, and now we need to know the end of the story. What happened to Eleanor?
Eleanor's story is the reason I am so passionate about this topic. She went home from my office and started with the simple step. That very night, she had a half cup of plain Greek yogurt before bed. She was skeptical, of course, but she was also consistent. The first thing she noticed after about a week was that the heaviness in her legs in the morning was starting to fade. After 3 weeks, she called me, and there was a new energy in her voice. She told me she had spent the afternoon in her garden and had been able to lift a 20-pound bag of potting soil from the ground to her wheelbarrow. Something she hadn't been able to do in years without asking for help.
Wow, that's not just a feeling. That's a measurable real-world improvement in strength.
Exactly. That's what this is all about. The real victory came about a month after that. She came into my office for a follow-up, and she was glowing. She said, "Doctor, for the first time in a decade, I feel solid." She told me she could get up from a low chair without pushing off with her hands. She had the confidence to walk on uneven grass at the park with her grandchildren without the nagging fear of losing her balance. She had won her silent nighttime battle. Her daily efforts, her walks, her gardening were finally being compounded by nighttime repair, not undone by nighttime breakdown. She took that knowledge and turned it into tangible strength and freedom.
From feeling like her legs were made of lead to feeling solid. That is an incredible and truly inspiring transformation. Thank you so much for sharing her story and for all of this vital information today, Dr. Morgan. To everyone who has stayed with us, the key takeaway is this. Your body is always trying to heal and rebuild. Our job is simply to give it the right tools at the right time. We learned about the foundational night shift proteins, like cottage cheese and Greek yogurt, that provide the slow-release building blocks. We learned about the soothing comfort and repair kit with tools like turmeric milk and tart cherry juice to create a healing environment. And we learned about the accelerator whey protein for a powerful boost when needed. Final CTA. If you found this conversation valuable, if Eleanor's story resonated with you, please show your support by giving this video a like, and most importantly, share it with a friend, a parent, or a loved one who deserves to wake up feeling strong and solid too. Don't forget to subscribe to Health Voices and hit the notification bell so you never miss one of our empowering health discussions. And for our final question today, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. What was the one most surprising or empowering thing you learned in our discussion today? Your insights and experiences help our entire community learn and grow.